Welcome to Wealth with the Walkers podcast.
Yes,
we are so excited that you're here today for another episode. Woohoo!
Yes.
Y'all, we're still in season 1. I'm so excited that we just have consistency with this podcast. I'm just excited. So we are about to interview an amazing person, and I'll let Benny introduce him. But today's topic, we're going to be talking all about how do you walk in purpose, but how do you do that without chasing platforms and without chasing the hype and what culture demands around you to chase. So we're so excited. We have someone who is just a powerhouse and has really accomplished this in every area. So we're excited for today's guest.
We got our brother Blaine Fuse in the building, the legend himself.
Literally.
My brother. We're so grateful to have you.
We really are.
We're going to formally introduce my brother so y'all can know who he is. He's so dope. So Blaine Fuse is a serial entrepreneur. He's a business strategist. He's a go-getter. And he is an incredible author of the dynamic book, Your Platform Is Not Your Purpose.
Shout out. And it's literally right behind him. So everyone go order a copy. Where can they order a copy at?
Right now.
I think Amazon and a TikTok, but
hey,
TikTok.
Come on,
TikTok shop is real. So,
yeah.
Like it's clutch. Okay, Amazon, TikTok, y'all. Order
it's an amazing book. I've read it already. And I've given it to so many of my friends.
It really has. No lie.
And so many people have read your book. It's like in the back of our toilet too. We got one on the back. So when people come, they read the book and they just like, who's the author of that book?
Only if they're doing like number 2.
Yeah.
So they're in there like 10 minutes.
Hey, wherever impact can take you.
I know, right?
But we also have one in our library. We got multiple copies.
You do.
But we've had like family members come like, who's the author of this book? Is really good.
Wow.
And you've inspired a lot of our friends to actually create their own book through reading your book. On one of my brothers and my friend who you've met wrote his book because you inspired him so much based on the information and the knowledge that you share with your book. So he's amazing. So get that book. He has multiple successful ventures of starting businesses underneath his belt. Blaine has built a reputation for helping leaders, for being a humble servant, turning big visions into lasting impacts. He's passionate about showing entrepreneurs about their purpose and that success isn't just about building influence and platforms, but it's about building something meaningful that aligns with your true purpose. Through this business, mentorship, and writing, Blaine inspires others to rise above our cultural trends, define their why, and create a legacy that goes beyond their platforms. He's also a dynamic TED Talk speaker.
For real.
Come on, go watch that TED Talk that he just did not too long ago. And he's also the founder of One Life, which is a nonprofit that helps support so many people that are in need right now. And so let's just give it up, a virtual hand clap for my brother, Blaine Fuse in the building, representing. So we want to start off today just by allowing for you to tell us what was your journey in terms of building a business. Why did you want to start to build a business? How did that go about? And then how did that kind of take off for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to spark notes it as best as I can because I know that in itself could take an hour. But I think, it really began when I was around 13 and I reached basically this moment in my life where I achieved a dream.
Wow. And,
we write about it in the book, but it's like, it's not often that at an early age, if at any age, like you reach a dream in your life. And, at 13, I reached a place in my soccer career that growing up on a farm in southern Indiana, is pretty rare.
Cornfields.
Cornfields, Amish, were my brothers, carpentry was our thing, very different from the likes of Los Angeles or New York or Nashville. But, I reached this place in my soccer career and I thought, if any moment in my life, I should feel happy or feel joy, it would be in achieving a dream. And it was in reaching a dream that I realized that it would never fulfill me. That there really and it probably, you know, again, I'm generalizing, but there probably won't be any moment in my life, if not for my dream, that would give me fulfillment.
Absolutely.
And in that realization, I was like, you know, then it's probably not here in this world. You know, if like your dream didn't bring what you were looking for, then what you're looking for probably isn't going to be here.
Wow.
And so at 13, I was like, well, I need to figure that out.
Come on.
You know, I need to figure out like
not too many 13-year-olds.
Honestly.
Yeah. And that's why it's so funny because, you know, with the stage of life that I'm in now, a lot of people are like, you know, my life is really, it's taken on very many different chapters. And they're like, oh, you're so young. And I'm like, yes. But, you know, again, most people don't ask themselves the question of why am I here until they're 50, 60, you know? And so I was just fortunate enough to like ask myself that question really young. And in doing so, it caused me to go down a path in life that, you know, I really couldn't fathom looking back.
Wow.
And so in doing so, then the question of, you know, why am I here became the forefront of my endeavors. And I found it. You know, very quickly after. I don't know if we can get into that, but it's in the book. But it was just this idea of I figured out why I was created.
Wow.
And, you know, I'll just be very bold so you don't have to listen to the whole podcast. You know, I think you were created to be a light. I think you were created to love and impact in the way that you were created to do so. You know, the question is not, why am I here? But the question is, where can you impact the most?
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, go there. And there's a quote that, you know, I've been ending my talks on recently, but it's very simply said, you know, a life spent searching for purpose isn't merely as impactful as a life spent living it.
Wow.
That's good.
And I don't want people to get to the end of their life and be like, oh, I don't know why I'm here.
Wow.
It's like, I want you today in this moment, as you hear these words, to pursue and live out your purpose.
Yeah.
Don't search for it anymore.
Come on.
You know? And so that's, you know, what the book was an effort to do.
Yeah.
Is just to say, hey, you were created to be a light in this world. You were created to love. Don't ever ask yourself why you're here ever again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Delete
That's
that.
good.
Wow.
You know, now start figuring out where you can do that.
Come on.
And so I know the win is now,
Come on.
but I don't know how.
Hey.
And that's for, you know, everyone listening and ourselves to figure out, like, how can we do that?
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, that how during that stage of my life, which I've defined as a platform, was video. You know, initially it was soccer. Soccer was the platform that allowed me to reach the most people in my life. But once I defined that my purpose is to love and impact, I then asked the bigger question of, well, where can I do that the most?
Yeah.
And maybe it's not where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, like soccer is it right now, but is there a bigger platform that would allow me to reach more people? And I discovered a company called the name of GoPro. And I was like, you know, I think GoPro is where I will one day have the greatest impact for me in my life. Looked up the requirements to begin that process, and it was 7 years experience in video, a bachelor degree in graphic design. I'm 14 on a farm in southern Indiana, so I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to pursue that here now. But I can start preparing for it.
Wow.
You know, and so I think, like, side message for everyone, even if you cannot step into the place that you will one day step into, you can prepare for it.
Wow.
And I think in that preparation, when the time comes, then you'll be ready to step into it.
Wow.
And so the preparation required for me was starting a video business.
Wow.
And I didn't have a desire to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily creative. People think I'm creative, and I do display that at times.
Yes.
But my heart's always been set on impact. And storytelling was natural for me.
Yes.
And so video aligned with that. And so that's when, you know, we began to create the video business at 14.
That's amazing.
So wild.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know, like, at 13, because like at 13 for me, I was like, I mean, I was thinking about boys and, you know, like,
Benny.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
She didn't
Even at
even know
13,
me
I didn't
yet.
even know, but I was having dreams. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just wasn't even mentally like thinking about anything for my future. So like, who was around you? Like, did you have mentors? Did you have your parents? Like, what was like your life at 13 to make you like even be thinking about that?
Oddly enough, not really. My parents are incredible. They paved a way for me spiritually and emotionally
Okay.
that allowed me to grow You know, like if I look at it metaphorically, like, and it was a forest, like they cleared the forest and they paved the dirt, and then it was up for me and our future for the family to build.
Wow.
And so I didn't have a entrepreneurial guide, but I had a spiritual guide. And so, like, through my parents, I got to see of just what a life well lived looked like.
Come on.
That's good.
You know, like what joy looked like. And it wasn't tied to wealth at the time, you know, or ever. It was just tied to being present and knowing your why in life. And so I saw that with them. But I will say my grandfather was an entrepreneurial spirit, kind of.
Wow.
He was a farmer. You know, we had a restaurant, like as much as he could, given where we grew up.
Yeah.
You know, construction, farming, things like that. And then my cousin was also an entrepreneur. Wow. So basically throughout our whole family, and he's older, he's like my second cousin. It's my grandpa's first cousin. You know, I don't know how old they are. I don't want to insult them, but, you know, 60 to 80. I'm not really sure. But those were the only two figures in my life that were entrepreneurial.
Wow.
But my whole family, you know, I don't want to say we were poor. We weren't poor, but I don't even know if we were middle class. Like, I mean, we had everything we'd ever needed, but, you know, it wasn't like we had the newest car or, you know, like the best house. Like, I was born in a trailer on a hill. Not oddly enough, beautifully enough, that's where my family still lives, but in a home that they built on the same ground, amazing. Which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as, you know, discovering that at an early age, I know that's rare.
Yeah.
I'm faith-centered. You guys know that. I know this is faith-centered.
Yes.
I don't actually often like to talk about faith verbally for people that may not yet know. But I will here now just for this.
Yes.
Come on, bro. Break it out.
We know you love Jesus.
Jesus is it.
Come on.
Jesus is it. And, you know, religion aside, you know, faith aside, it's like if you dedicate your life to just knowing who he is and the characteristics that he embodies, and then you apply that to your life practically, you will see the results. And so, again, just to kind of full circle, go back to your question of like at 13, you know, I was thinking about, you know, things that are not this deep.
Yes.
Most people.
Incredible.
Right. Well, for me, what I think is encouraging is when I look at the life of Jesus, you know, a question that I ask myself is, when did he know his purpose? Like, at what age did Jesus know, hey, this is what I got to do? And he was 12. You know, we read about that, like 12 was like, he might have been before, but we know certainly that at 12, Jesus knew the purpose of his life here on earth. Like, obviously he's God, but he knew like, hey, this is who I am. And this is the mission I have to live out. Because we find him in the temple. You know, and his mom's like, you know, where were you? And it's like, oh, did you not know where I would be? You know, in my Father's house. And so what that tells me when I read that is at 12, Jesus knew the purpose of his life. And so that tells me that why can't we at 12?
Come on.
You know, so I found it at 13, which is hypothetically a year late. You know? And so I think, like, I didn't know it then, you know, what I'm communicating now, but I think it's just, it's 12 is a critical number. And the way that I've kind of said it before is I think 12 is the age that you either begin to pursue your purpose or start to forget it.
Wow.
And so you either at 12 begin to fall into things that are aligned with this world, or at 12 you begin to live out the mission that's greater than this world. You know, and so at 13 I stumbled upon it. At 14 I began pursuing it for the business. 2 years later at 16 is when it became full time. And then
that's wild.
That's
I had my first job
incredible.
at 16.
I
mean, and I was
legally, I think that's like, you know what I mean? I think it's probably accurate.
I had my first job like at 14. It was
Child
like
labor.
a man-made job. I used to pick up trash.
Oh, I thought you were at McDonald's.
No. I started McDonald's at 16. But we had a block club president. So in Chicago, we call our streets blocks. And we had a block club president, and she like paid me money to go clean up trash off the block. And so that's always how I started. That's how I started like my citizen, servantship to the community, because she would only pay me like $3 every time I picked up the trash. But what I love about you, Blaine, is your intentionality of humility and how you're very strategic in terms of how you allow for people to have a perception concerning who you are. Although you started a business at 16, the vision started at 13. I love how you're so like specific and strategic with what you wear and who you speak to and how you approach people. And it's so countercultural in the society that we live today, of how we want to show off everything that we have. We want to show off how much knowledge that we have. Yeah. We want to show off how much money we have, in terms of just pushing this perception and this like idea that we have it all together and that we're like, we're known and wanting to be famous. But your perception is like, I want to hide. Like, I want to make sure that I'm very strategic in how people perceive me. Like, where did that come from?
I guess I'll say this and then I'll say it in one sentence. I think we know what it feels like to not be seen.
Yeah.
And I think we know what it feels like to have people walk into a room and you feel like they're out of reach, out of touch, better than you, hypothetically. And, I never want to create a barrier for impact.
Wow.
And so like, if a watch is a barrier, get rid of it. If a brand logo is a barrier, get rid of it. If, there's something about me physically, like visually, that could be a barrier, I want to eliminate it.
Wow.
And so in one sentence, it's, I want to be all things for all people.
Come on.
I want people to, that's the origin. That's the origin, but he's like, I'm not trying to just speak to the Jews. I'm not just trying to speak to the Gentiles. Like, I want every facet of my life to be open and available. And we don't think about it often, but what you wear could close someone off to a conversation. How you present yourself could close yourself off for a moment of impact.
Yes.
What car you drive could create an intimidation factor that allows someone to never walk up to you. In the contrary, these things could allow it for it. But the question that you have to audit yourself, is that the intention? And so, I'm very deliberate. If I drive a quote nicer car, I will dress extremely poor. Like, when I say poor, I mean like poorly, not like lovely. Sorry.
But he has a mind of a Steve Jobs.
Yes.
It's just simple.
Simple.
And I think like reason I say that, like, it's always in contrast. Like, I want business owners to be able to talk to me and like, I have a fake Rolex. Right? Like, I bought a fake Rolex with the intention that business owners will be like, oh, I love your watch. I'm like, thank you. And then we begin to discuss business and they find out that I'm credible. And then later they find out that it's a fake watch. And it confuses them. Because I think you're either pretending to be someone you're not, or you're pretending to be someone you want to be. But very rarely can you be so confident with who you are and your mission that you realize that none of those things matter.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, who I am, I will bring to the table. You will get the best me. We will deliver the best product. And the things that you perceive that will align with how good we will perform, a lot of times don't matter. But if they do matter, I'll lean into that for just to get into the room. But once I'm in the room, I'll let you know the truth. And I guess the root of that, to answer it, is in my understanding of the word confidence. So a lot of times people think of it in like a negative connotation. Confidence is also typically tied with arrogance. You step in, it's like, oh, this guy like thinks he is who he is, type of mentality. Well, confidence, if you break down the etymology and split it into two, con, it's Latin, it means with, and fidens means faith. And so when you combine the two words, you're saying I'm with faith. And so when I say like, oh, I'm confident in that I don't have to wear the certain things. I don't have to drive certain things. I don't have to live a certain way.
Yeah.
It's because I'm so confident in who I know Jesus to be and the mission that I need to live out.
Come on.
And so how you think of me, that's okay.
Yeah.
But again, most people want to be perceived in a way that maybe that's not true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I'll end it. I got the best compliment of my life probably 3 years ago from a entrepreneur that is incredible. He's a CEO, founder of 9 EINs businesses, has a private equity firm. Met him at random, and he got to do life with him, and I was really like blown away by him.
Wow.
He's, I think it's $600 million probably up there, very prestigious businesses. He said, I couldn't ever tell if you're homeless or a millionaire. And I said, that from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because I think that's what I love. And I think just a test, if you guys are wanting to, I don't know if people will say, oh, I want to do that, but if you did want to do that, I think a great way to basically, again, fine tune your decision making is ask yourself, like, what's the reason?
Yeah.
When you put that watch on, what's the intention? Is it to attract a business person or someone so you can impact them?
Yeah.
Okay, put it on. Is it to become worthy in the world's eyes? Don't put it on. Figure out why you make the decisions. Like, why do you drive that car? Like, there's been times, and we probably don't need to talk on this topic for too long, but there's been times where, like, I want to drive my nicer car, and I'm like, why? And then I'm like, oh, it's because so-and-so's there, and like, they never thought anything of me. And I'm like, I'm not gonna drive that car.
Wow.
And so I think being so honest with yourself is critical to uncovering who you were created to be.
That's awesome.
And making sure.
And I've only seen the regular car, which is the Honda Civic.
So what's the other car?
Kia, Krista.
Oh, Kia.
Krista's my girl. That's my daily. Yeah. Krista.
So what's the other one's name?
Donna.
So what type of car is Donna?
Land Rover Defender.
Okay.
So, and that was honestly.
Wait, Donna's a Kia?
Krista's the Kia.
Krista's a Kia. Wait,
Donna's
I thought I saw you in a Honda Civic.
That was probably a friend's.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah, we have so many cars, but like just like off and on,
Come on.
Jeeps.
But I love the
love
intentionality behind that.
That's so
dope.
cool. Yeah. So pick us up in the story. Okay, so once you turned 16, then it was like official with GoPro, everything. So what happened after that?
Funny enough, I actually never worked for GoPro. But I was trying to.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess words of encouragement. You don't have to actually get to the place that you think you're supposed to be for God to take you where He imagined you to go.
Wow.
Say that one more time.
That's so good. That's so good.
Say that one more time.
You don't have to get to the place that you think you're supposed to be for God to take you to the place that He wants you to go.
Wow.
And so I thought I was supposed to be at GoPro.
Wow.
But it was in where I thought God needed me that He took me to where He actually wanted me to go.
Wow.
And that was, our own space. And I remember, a good friend and mentor, David Cunningham, was my advisor in college. He was kind of helped me realize the closing of that chapter. I actually dropped out of college. But he was, I had to say, it's okay. He won't get in trouble. But, he was just honest with me and was like, hey, like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm trying to work for GoPro. And because I was trying to get 7 years experience, I went to college to get the bachelor degree. And he was like, you have like a team of 20. Like, you're traveling every weekend to do video. He's like, I know you're okay. And he's like, why do you want to go to GoPro? And I was like, well, that's where I'm going to be most impactful. And he's like, how? I was like, well, I'll travel the world and I'll meet people I would have never met and speak life into people I wouldn't know. And he's like, you're doing that now. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Wow.
And he's like, you need to probably leave here. And so through a series of different events, I ended up dropping out of college.
Wow.
And I moved to LA. And that's where God, I felt like, was calling me to be at that time of my life. But again, I'm an Indiana boy. Like, I don't want to be in LA. I'm not an ocean guy. I'm a landlocked, farm boy, even though my visual doesn't reflect that.
You look like you're a California person.
Yeah, I
do.
I look Cali, but I'm like a Hoosier at heart, which is a cool duality, you know, because that also leans into that all things for all people.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, like he, you know, looks this way, but he like acts this way, you know. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, moved to LA, dropped out of college. And directed and edited out there for 6-7 years. Wow. And man, like God moved out there.
Wow.
You know?
And at this point, you're still directing and editing within your own company?
Currently?
Well, at the time.
At the time, no. I actually stepped down. So I hired a COO to run the wedding business and my roommate to hire to do the production company. So we split the businesses. It was Fuse Video, split it into two, hired 2 people to run it, and then I just went to LA and directed.
Wow.
But the businesses are always in Indiana. Even today, they're still in Indiana.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, and honestly, I didn't go to LA to work, which I think is a unique thing, because a lot of times people move to LA to
pursue dreams.
A dream, and oftentimes at the expense of anyone who can help them.
Yep.
Wow.
They just want to make it.
Yeah. And so I think a reason I stood out during my time in LA was because I was just out there to love.
Wow.
And I had a skill set, which was directing and editing. But I didn't need to.
Yeah.
You know, our businesses were my income. I was just out there to serve.
Yeah.
Come on.
And through that, you know, doors opened that I would have never fathomed. Wow. And I got to work with some incredible people.
That's amazing.
Still really good friends to this day.
Wow.
You know? But again, it wasn't the intention, but it was the result.
Come on.
Wow.
So it's a different way to look at it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us how, from beginning to now, how are you able to like scale your business? Were you able to work with different, consultants to scale your business from 5 employees to 20 employees? And how were you able to kind of do that in terms of like generating revenue to kind of grow your business?
You know, it's taken on so many different forms over the last like 15 years, where like early on, it was employee based, and like in the creative world, there's like a high turnover because everyone doesn't want to have a 9-to-5. Yeah. So that's like, it's contractor, a better route. Yes. And even the businesses have changed, like I saw some of the questions as far as like business failures, and we'll probably get into that. But, like I bought an app company a couple years ago. I was like the COO of a growth agency in New York a couple years ago. And it's like the different companies have different needs and a different growth strategy. Yes. With our like Fuse entity, we basically have 3 businesses within the umbrella. We actually don't try to scale, which is like a rare thing. Yes. I actually run into this conversation often. I love it. Where it's like, why don't you scale? Why don't you grow? And I think it's like, hey, we've gotten to a place where like everyone's happy and we do good work at a high level. And if we do it for more people, it's like, there's not really a high margin for what that will take versus what it will create. A quote that you can take for the social: not everything that grows is healthy. Yeah, that's good. Cancer grows. Come on. Weeds grow. That's good. And so it's like, hey, like, you might have something of 5 people. It might be 2 people. And that might be a really good thing. Mm-hmm. And you might think that more numbers is more impact, and it might not be. Yeah. And so that's good. That's kind of where I'm really hesitant. Then to now, where it's like, hey, like, let's make sure we're building the right thing with the right people. And then we have cultural things that we implement that from a longevity standpoint probably aren't effective, but I like often say like, hey, if you're with me like on our team for like 5 years, like I failed you. Wow. Like I don't want you here. You usually don't hear things like that. It's interesting. Yeah. You usually hear like, oh, we're going to give you like an award for being here the longest standing member.
You get a pizza party.
Yeah.
Instead of being able to grow, develop your talent, and then send them out to go to fulfill whatever purpose and assignment that they're supposed to be fulfilling.
Totally.
That's interesting. Yeah. So what's your longest standing like employee?
I mean, Megan has been running the wedding business since I met her.
Okay.
So she's been great. And Grace and Kevin, there's a couple that are like with us, but not with, like they're some are contractors, you know, now. But I think the coolest thing is like they're doing like Kevin, for example, like he's doing his own thing, you know, but if we ever need him, like he's there.
That's cool.
Wow.
You know, and I think that's something like I get asked often, like building a culture within a company.
Yeah.
It's like if you actually care about your team to the extent that you want them to go off and create their own impact and then in return stability financially, you'll create a culture that's, you know, hard to replicate. Because it's like, hey, like you actually care for me. You know, like I had like a call like 2 weeks ago, last week, with these like new young entrepreneurs, and they're kind of like trying to, you know, going through these questions. And I'm like, you cannot replicate actually caring for someone in a company. If your goal is like, I actually care for you, that will translate in a way that making money just won't.
Wow.
It's like, hey, like you're going to make 100K, 200K salary.
Wow.
Okay, cool. Here's equity. Cool. The moment you actually care for them, you'll get a result from them work-wise that is, again, unreplicable. Like it's just not possible if, you know, money is the motivation.
That's
or
so
like
good.
a title. You know?
Speaking of money, building a company and growing your company and being able to really make an impact as far as financially and growing financially, coming from Indiana, being able to travel to LA and to, you know, build multiple streams of income that you've done. How has your relationship with money evolved in terms of, you know, building and growing within your company and within yourself personally? Like,
different. I think there's like a couple areas that I take it. I think like for me personally, my view of money has honestly never changed from a desire standpoint. You know, like I've been really fortunate that I've never wanted money. Like it's never been a thing of like, oh, I got to get money or I have to get that thing or that material possession. And I don't know why, but that's just, maybe because I'll define it. My standard of comfortability is so low.
Wow.
Like what I actually need is like very low.
That's amazing.
You know, I'm like it's like, and that's something I'm like always challenging people on. Like, what is that number for you? Like, is it 20K a year? Like 30K? Like, what is actually like the number that you need?
Not want, need.
Just need.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, I can move back to Indiana. I'm cool with sleeping at my parents' home. I'm cool with, you know, eating the bare minimum. I don't need a bed. I can sleep on the floor. You know, like it's just things of like, really, what do you need? And so I think because my standard has always been so low, although we've gotten to a different area in our life now where there are more resources available for me, that's still my standard.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You know, and so I think when you think like that, it's like, oh, I could lose everything. As long as I have that, you know, I can still financially be okay.
Yes.
Because I have invested.
And if you were to lose everything,
it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. And
my standards has always been low. But when you think of like, on the flip side of that, you know, being able to have all of your needs met, being able to like, okay, if I want to be able to purchase a home, I can, or, you know, all of those different things that society allows for us to afford. Like, how do you balance that perception of like, I can live below my means, but also like I still can enjoy the fruits of my labor.
And I want to create generational wealth too, you know?
It's tough. I think that's a thing I battle with often. Like even getting the Land Rover was like really challenging for me. Because I wanted it and I audited myself very,
Audited
thoroughly,
yourself.
where I'm like, hey, like, you don't want this for someone else. Like, you don't want this because people think like, and I could have afforded it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I didn't buy it until last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for me, it took getting sick, which also is the reason why I wrote the book. Like when I got that autoimmune disease and like I couldn't walk for 4 months and I was in bed and I lost 35 pounds. That was the first time in my life where, I was like, if I did die, again, my standard's so low, but I was like, I would love just to like look at that car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like from a art standpoint, an engineering standpoint, a history standpoint, I'm like, I would like to have that.
Wow.
But people joke with me, like I've had it, and it doesn't really, I have like,
What do you have, like 100 miles on it?
yeah, it's like I have 1,000, but it's because I drove to Indiana to put tires on it.
Oh,
wow.
But, I say that because it's like, again, my barrier's so low and I don't think it's healthy or adaptable for anyone listening, but because my standard's so low, my risk is so high. And so when you talk about like curating generational wealth, I'm always investing,
Yes.
and I guess because my standard's so low, it allows for this buffer of what I'm willing to invest to be so great.
That's good.
And then in doing so, not that I'm like desiring generational wealth. That's why I think it's kind of weird. Like I'm not like, oh, I want my kids to be secure.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I actually don't really care. I'm like, they'll figure it out.
Oh, wow.
But I think that will be their reality
Yeah.
because their dad, me, future son, kids, has such a low standard of what he needs that everything that he makes on top of it can go somewhere that money can work for itself.
Wow.
But it's not necessarily my goal, but again, it'll be the result.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And so I think that's kind of that common thread where it's like, hey, like never has creating wealth been a goal.
Wow.
Never has creating wealth been something I've focused on, but it has occurred because I've been pursuing people as my highest priority
Wow.
and creating businesses grounded in impact and taking every moment that I can to instill love.
Yeah.
And in doing so, it causes a motivation to work as hard as you possibly can because you have to convince yourself that someone's waiting for you. We talk about in the book, I know you guys read it, but like if you honestly think that like there's a business that you haven't created yet and there's someone's life who will forever be changed when you start it, you'll start the business.
Yeah.
And if you're like, there's
So
an
good.
idea in me that I have to bring into reality, you'll make that idea real.
Yeah.
Because someone's waiting for you.
Someone's waiting for you.
Someone.
I think that's the purpose of this podcast.
Yeah.
After we read your book and then also speaking to some mentors of ours, it's like somebody's waiting for Benny and Lauren to be able to help share tips on like how do you walk in purpose and wealth be a byproduct of you walking in your purpose. That wealth is not an idol. It's not something that you put as a golden calf in your heart or in your life, but it's a byproduct of allowing you to fulfill and just go after your purpose full throttle.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah, and I can add, just so it's practical, because I know like sometimes like when you talk so much in the concept of love, people listen and they're like, oh, that doesn't, how can I use this?
Yeah.
And, I think the way you can use it, fortunately and unfortunately, if you dedicate your life to living out the characters of Jesus, right? Like as love is the primary goal,
That's good.
it will take you to rooms you wouldn't go into.
My God.
Come on.
It will cause you to enter conversations that maybe when you're not feeling well, you're gonna partake in.
Wow.
And I rarely say no if opportunity to impact is available.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm using this metric of how did Jesus live, and I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so if you did that, practically, like if you said, hey, I'm gonna go into work tomorrow, and even though I hate the job, even though my boss sucks, even though I don't think that I'm fulfilling my purpose this task, if you led with love and tried to speak life into your coworkers, into your clients, into everyone you come across, I bet chances are you're going to have the highest percentage of getting a raise that year.
Yeah.
Wow. Come on.
You're probably going to be the best employee that year.
Yeah.
Come on.
And you're going to see a monetary result. Do we need to pause? Because they want to. Okay. You're going to see a monetary result. Not that you walked into work saying, I want to make more money. but you walked into work saying, I'm going to make a greater impact.
Yeah.
Wow.
And guess what? Oh, you got the money.
Wow.
You know? And it's like, whatever that is. So like, one of the questions that you guys wrote down is like, why do you start a business, or like, how do you discern starting a business? It's like, even if you're an employee right now,
come on,
and you go to work at, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., you get done at 5 p.m. It's like, is there room in your day to impact someone else?
Yes.
And it may be through business as the next platform, or it might just be where you go and eat.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And it's like, did you talk to the waiter?
Yeah.
When you pump gas, do you talk to the people you see?
Yes.
Like where we're at right now, there's people walking in. Like, can you compliment someone walking out?
Yeah.
And so like, how or when to do the next thing is like, man, ask yourself, like, can it be impactful?
Wow.
And like, if it can be, then it's worth pursuing.
That's incredible.
And again, when that's your mindset, creating opportunity for impact, then you'll start finding ways to do that, and people will pay you for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not hoping to get paid, but you will be required for that environment, and you'll be sought after and sent for.
Wow.
You
That's
know?
so good.
But that's...
Yeah.
And I love how you talk about that in the book.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you will be sought after and you will be sent for.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. I would love for you, as we kind of close, to talk about, because when I think of like a radical giver, you're one person who comes to mind.
Yes.
And so I would love for you to talk about how you're able to create wealth, but also give to things that, are you're passionate about, but that really impact people.
Joking up, I'm like tearing up already before I start talking, because I think the like the answer hits me, but
wow, bro.
I just don't want to get to heaven and to hear Jesus say, like, was that person not worth X amount?
Yeah.
It's like someone needs $5 and you don't, you're not generous. It's like, hey, like, was $5 was that too much of a cost for you for him to get to know me?
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's like, there was a person that messaged us last week needing transportation, like a moped, to get to work. We sent him home a year ago to be with his family after 15 years apart. And, in my head, again, I'm always hesitant, because it's tough to be like, are they taking advantage?
Yeah.
Is there the right intention? I know we've even worked through that together when you guys have helped us in our nonprofit. Yeah. But then again, it's like, man, like, do we have the capacity to give?
Yeah.
Yes.
And is that number worth it? Like, when you think of an investment, we spend so much of our time creating a diverse portfolio financially.
Yeah.
But how much time do we spend creating a diverse portfolio of impact?
Wow.
Where it's like, oh, like, I give to this church so they can impact consistently.
Yeah.
I give to this person. It's a little bit more risky, but it could have a greater ROI. It's like a startup, And so it's like, man, like, I know my barrier is low. I know I have the capacity to give.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not all the times financially, spiritually, physically. And it's like, man, like, is reaching that person worth it? Absolutely.
Wow.
And it's like, again, I get choked up, because I'm like, the times I've said no, it's like, man, I really hope God doesn't, and maybe it was because of money, to be like, hey, like, because you didn't want to, like, spend $1,000 or $500 or buy that person lunch, $20, they don't know me.
Wow.
And it's like, oh, dude, that's what this money's for.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful how your connection and relationship with money and being able to freely just give it to people who are in need. And it's amazing. To close us out, can you just pray for people who are in need of direction for their purpose?
Yeah.
And who are like, man, I just wish that an opportunity will open for me, a door will open for me, and I just need to know where God is trying to send me and give me clarity. And they're just kind of lost in their 9 to 5, and they're just living life, and it's passing them by. Can you just pray for those people who just need their purpose to be known to them, and that opportunity that's going to impact somebody's life, that's going to help transform this world?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's pray.
Thank you, bro.
Man, God, thank you for this moment. Thank you for, these words that we've spoken over today. Yes. And, our prayer is that someone comes across this podcast and hears exactly what they need to hear.
Yes.
I don't know what moment they are in their life or what barriers that they've convinced themselves that they cannot step over, God. That's a lie. And God, you have created us to do incredible things.
Yes.
And at times we just don't believe that. We've let voices around us tell us that, we're not capable, that we're not worthy, that we don't have something within us that the world needs to experience. But God, who you created us to be is who someone is waiting for.
Yes.
And, we might be in a 9-to-5 and think that that's not true, but it is. Because if there is breath in our lungs, then there is purpose for our life, God. And so I pray that, someone believes that today, and that they would never try to search for their purpose or uncover their purpose, but that today they would begin to pursue their purpose with urgency, God. We don't know how much time we get to live this life, and it starts today.
Yes.
It starts today, God. And I was, praying with the boys this week during prayer and fasting, and we were just talking about Gideon and the army and how, there was 30,000 people, and God said, of the 30,000, if you don't want to be here, you can go home. Wow. And so 20,000 left. And of the 10,000 that remained, God said, there's only going to be a select few of them that care for the people around them more than themselves. And so send the 10,000 to drink from the lake and the water. And the few that have their head up, looking out for danger, those are the ones that I'm going to use. And so they go down, and of the 10,000, only 300 drink the water in their hands with their head up, looking around for everyone else's safety. And he says, send everyone else home. And God, I don't want you to send us home.
Yes.
I know that there is a story that you want us to step into, and unfortunately, a lot of times we take ourselves out of the story that you created us to step into because we don't think that we're capable, that it's possible, that we can do it. But it is possible, God, and give us that vision, give us that life, and allow us to create the businesses, create the conversations, create the love that this world desperately needs to experience. And God, I end the prayer saying this: the world is not bad because bad people do bad things. The world is bad because there is not enough good people doing good things. Allow us to step into the purpose that you have for us. It's your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Gee.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, brother, for being here. We are so blessed to have you, bro.
Yeah. This is